Leprosy is an infectious skin disease. For Jews in Palestine, the skin disease itself was not the worst thing. Far worse was the social isolation that the skin disease brought. Jewish law told lepers they had to live outside the town, wear torn clothes, cover the upper lip, and cry, "Unclean, unclean," when anyone approached. The disease cut lepers off from everyone close to them. As Jesus entered a village, 10 lepers begged Jesus for help. "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." They remind us that in all our difficulties and problems, we can turn to Jesus and say, "Jesus, have pity on me." Jesus is the one with whom we can share our deepest needs. The leper who returned to thank Jesus was a Samaritan, and the Samaritans were not on good terms with the Jewish people at that time. Jesus said to him, "Your faith has saved you." Only one of the 10 moves beyond the prayer of petition to the prayer of praise and thanksgiving. The gospel reading says that this man turned back, praising God, and threw himself at the feet of Jesus and thanked him. He praised God and thanked Jesus. He recognized that it was God working through Jesus that was the reason for his healing. It was only to this man that Jesus said, "Your faith has saved you." His response to the gift he had received was the response of faith, and it brought him a deeper healing beyond the physical healing, what Jesus calls salvation. He was the least likely to make this response to the gift. He was a foreigner, a non-Jew, a Samaritan, yet Jesus holds him up as a model of faith for all of us. The skin deformities caused by lepers made lepers look repulsive in the eyes of some. Jesus also would have looked repulsive to some during his passion. For that reason, St. Therese of Lisieux referred to Jesus during his passion as looking like a leper. "I worship thy divine face. Once it shone with the beauty and sweetness of the divinity. Now for my sake, it has become as the face of a leper." Jesus, who healed the skin deformities in 10 lepers, looked terrible during his passion from bleeding, scourges, and falling under the weight of the cross. Jesus, who healed lepers, now looked like a leper or worse than a leper. Jesus suffered all of that so that we could be healed of something much worse than a skin ailment, so that we could be healed of sin, so that we could be saved. The salvation from Jesus on the cross flows to us in humble ways that God has chosen. Jesus' salvation touches us in the waters of baptism, and then in each sacrament after that. Sometimes God's greatest gifts to us can separate us from God. We can be so focused on the gift that we forget the source of the gift. It is only the Samaritan that Jesus says, "Your faith has saved you." Whereas all 10 received the gift of physical health, he alone received the gift of salvation, which is the fruit of faith, a relationship with God that is alive and vital in health as well as in sickness. It is the outsider, the despised Samaritan, who teaches us the importance of valuing God at all times and through all gifts. I have often been struck by the phrase in the gospel reading, "One of them turned back praising God." Of the 10 lepers that were healed by Jesus, only one turned back to Jesus, a Samaritan.